Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you can hear me okay throughout this video. I've been sick, as you can probably hear my voice, for the past like 4 or 5 days. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna do my best, and I hope that my voice is not too scratchy. But it's been a minute. Haven't seen you guys in a little while. I haven't uploaded a video in probably 2.5 weeks or so, but just did some life stuff. Birthday book haul was my last video, and then I spent some time with my son, did Halloween, got sick, just had some busy stuff with work come up. So all in all, I'm just trying to get back on get back on track and do another book review. So today we have Stanislaw Lem and his 1960 book Return from the Stars, a book that I absolutely adore the cover of, and this style of these Bard Avon books is just wonderful. You have this little mirror in the back that kind of reflects the front, but overall, this book it was my only Stanislaw Lem when I read it at the time. I have, I think, two more now that I've acquired since I read this, but um, gosh, where do I start with this book? I guess I'll give you a little bit of background to it. So it was published in 1960 by Lem, who was a Polish author. Is published in another language, not English, and so he gave permission, I believe, in like the around 1980, for it to be translated into English, and we got this copy from 82, and it's about a man named Hal Bragg, who is like a deep space astronaut pilot, goes on a mission that in his time, time relativity and all that kind of stuff in space travel, his time takes 10 years, but on Earth, 127 years have passed. Now, I'm not a physicist. I really try to grasp these concepts, but I am not very well versed in like hard science and the excuse me and the actual concepts of that kind of stuff. So I don't know how 10 years passes for Hal and how 127 years passes on Earth, but go with it. It's something that's beyond me, and I kind of just trust the physics and the time continuum of it. Um, I'm just, yeah, I like to read. I don't like to do science and math. Um, so Hal Bragg comes back to Earth after 127 years have passed on Earth, and there is a huge shift in the culture and in people on Earth. A process called betrization has begun occurring in children, infants, when they're born. Are essentially They essentially have aggression removed from them. So anything that resembles aggression, fear, violence, those kinds of impulses, they get removed from every human being. But with that also comes, the ability to risk and explore. So that's kind of the central crux of the book, is how, not having gone through betrization, tries to really reassimilate into Earth society, and it is so much different than he remembers. And I think the themes of this book really resonated with me because there's a lot around loneliness and kind of being an outsider and that kind of thing. And I think, um, being a people pleaser all my life, I find myself sometimes feeling like I'm just doing things to please others and to fit into a mold that other people want to see me in, and not be my true self in some ways. I think most people wrestle with that if they have their own self awareness. And so I think that theme of kind of the being the fish out of water, so to speak, was interesting and was really, uh, it feels like a phenomenon that, not really a phenomenon, but just something that is a part of the human experience. I think most people in different ways experience that kind of, that loneliness, I think, is really the word I keep coming back to. And Hal just doesn't quite know how to fit in. And this is everything from, when he he goes home with this girl that he meets at a party when he first gets back, and she's very cavalier about having him just come inside, doesn't really know him, and he's very taken aback by this, and he's just confused. He's not aware of Betrization full extent yet at this point, and just she's like, it's because you won't be aggressive. Nobody's aggressive, and he's like, well, I haven't been Betrizated or whatever the word is, and he leaves, and it's just one of those like awakening moments for him where he realizes like the world relative to what I knew it as the Earth is no longer here. And what I found interesting about the second part of the book, a little bit of spoilers here, so just be aware. He falls in love with this girl named Ari, and she, excuse me, she kind of represents, I think, a portion of the book that is exploring how really not just attempting to assimilate, but I think attempting to find himself again in this world, because it's just different. It's different than what he knew, like I said, but it's like a love story in the second half of the book. A dramatic love story that just it's an odd structure to the book because I didn't see it going in that direction, but most of the second half of the book, if my memory serves, is a lot around him and Ari and his exploration of trying to court this woman and understand what it's like to be with somebody who understands a different world than you do. And so there's a lot of those themes of you know, experiencing other cultures and that kind of thing. And I just think Lem writing this in 1960 really hits an interesting concept in this book. He explores something that I just haven't really read in many other books that's been I guess just explored in a way like he did, because the prose are beautiful. Lem's writing, even though it's translated in this, is wonderful. He is one of the best prose writers in all of science fiction, I would say, even only having read this one book by him. He shapes this real futuristic world in a wonderful, beautiful, and almost like horrific way sometimes, where you're just experiencing it through Hal's, his perspective. And I loved it. I thought this book was wonderful. I thought it was ahead of its time. I think that there are stuff that he kind of predicts in here, essentially like Kindles, like reading on screens and stuff, was in this book. I don't think that was, that's something. Sam, get out of there. But sorry, I don't know if Sam, my dog, was in view, but he's getting into stuff down here. And then there's a big old truck on the street. I don't know if my mic's going to pick that up. I'm going to wait for it to go past. Okay, it's pretty much gone. Anyway, all in all, I really think that if you haven't read Lem, you should try to find him. He's not easy to come by. I plan on reading Solaris at some point, his very well-known work that I believe was a movie. And so Lem is definitely going to be read on the channel more. I'm really excited to at some point, when I get the itch, to pick up Solaris, because it's not a very long book, and it's one I think I'm going to fly through. I think I have like I said, another couple of books in there by him that intrigue me, but if you can find Lem, I would read him. And if you can find this book specifically, I would recommend this book. I think it's excuse me, it's a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's not by any means a perfect book, but I think it's well above average for science fiction and just for literature in general. It's one of those books that I think I'll be kind of chewing on some of the themes if I revisit his writing and if I ever revisit this book. I also want to make a note. I think I already mentioned these Bard Avon novels, the way they're published. It's the little things, the little chapter numbers, or no, like first letters. Let's see if I can find another one. Yeah, first letters of the chapters have these little artsy kind of cube-like way of doing it. I don't know. It's the little things in books like these. The artwork's fantastic and everything, but then you just get those little people paying attention to the details. So anyway, that all being said, I appreciate you guys that have stuck with me. I'm going to try to continue to maintain a relatively consistent upload pace, but just bear with me. We're about to get into some holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. Excuse me. Going to spend a lot of time with family and whatnot, and so my reading has substantially slowed down in the last few weeks, and honestly, it's for the best. I think I was really getting excited about the way the channel was going and the engagement and just having a lot of fun with it. And I think I almost started to treat reading as just that. Me read so I can talk about it on my channel. And I want to continue to make sure I'm reading for the right reasons because I love books, I love literature, and I love discussing it with you guys. But I want it to be an enjoyable experience and not one that I feel obligated to do. So anyway, again, I apologize for my voice. I know I'm hoarse and it's cracking and it does not probably sound great on the mic, but nonetheless, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.